50-year-old woman and two men aged 49 and 80. The clots occurred between 9 and 26 days after the vaccine was received. And let's get some of the day's other top stories now. A large group of former gymnasts have come forward with allegations of abuse and mistreatment while training at the WA Institute of Sport. Police are aware of the allegations and WACE is carrying out its own inquiry. The women say all they want is an apology.
The faces of women still haunted by their childhood spent in the gymnastics training program at the WA Institute of Sport. The culture they say was one of punishment and abuse.
It's everything from being slapped, choked, bullied, told you're stupid, fat, lazy.
This is just 6 of a group of around 20. None of the allegations are sexually related and include physical and emotional abuse, body shaming and little or no injury management. Georgia Simpson's career ended on a stretcher. Injury ended Sarah Ritchie's career as well. She's still traumatised.
The coach that was on the bars with me at the time walked away from me without even speaking to me.
The group says it was inspired to speak out after the release of Netflix documentary Athlete Aim.
We feel like that it was really ways to let us down.
They received an apology from the CEO, but not on behalf of the WA Institute of Sport. For that, they'll need to wait for a Sports Integrity Australia investigation.
That apology needs to be informed by clear understanding.
The WA Institute of Sport isn't sure how long the investigation will take, and it isn't clear if the results will be made public. It can't guarantee any recommendations will be fully implemented. Police say they're aware of the allegations and have been talking to the group of women, but at this stage, no official inquiry has been launched. John Campbell, 7 News.
6 Victorian police officers have been punished over a leaked photo scandal involving AFL great Danny Laidley. The officers have been ordered to pay thousands of dollars in compensation.
Danny Laidley broke the law, but it was the system that let the 54-year-old down. Police officers photographing the former Kangaroos coach in custody and leaking the pictures.
3 officers who were charged before the court. And we have had some discipline hearing outcomes though as well this week.
One photo was taken inside an interview room, the other a copy of Laidley's mugshot. This week, a Victoria Police investigation found 6 officers breached the force's rules, each ordered to pay between $1,000 and $3,000 to Laidley as compensation.
The independent hearing officer has put them on a good behaviour bond for 12 months, but in addition to that, ordered that they undertake a respect course.
But lawyers say it could be much worse.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if Victoria Police are sued in the civil courts over this incident.
There could also be repercussions for members of the public who saw the photographs and sent them on. Even publishing private information to social media can have serious consequences.
If you receive information and you know that information is confidential and you pass it on, you can be sued for breach of confidence.
Jodie Lee, 7 News.
Scott Morrison has resisted pressure to lift Australia's targets for reducing emissions, saying achievements are more important than promises. World leaders are discussing climate change challenges at a virtual summit. Host nation, the United States, has dramatically increased its own pledge.
At times, President Biden's virtual climate summit, the Prime Minister of Australia, looked like a tech wreck. Mr. Prime Minister, I'm not sure we're hearing you here. But when the glitches cleared, the host had a message for the meeting of 40 world leaders.
A moment of peril, but also a moment of extraordinary possibilities.
Washington, having ditched climate goals under previous President Trump, is back, promising to double its own 2030 target.
To cut greenhouse gases in half by the end of this decade.
The new US goal lifts it closer to Britain and on par with the European Union. Australia, no change, yet.
Future generations, my colleagues and excellencies, will thank us, not for what we have promised, but what we deliver. And on that score, Australia can always be relied upon.
Scott Morrison today pledged $100 million to clean up oceans and harness coastal technologies to reduce emissions.
Just think about how much coast there is in Australia and what that is in terms of an opportunity for us
Labor says the announcement is to distract from the PM's missed opportunity last night on climate change.
All of our major competitors have adopted net zero by 2050.
Joe Biden's virtual meeting wraps up tomorrow. The year's big climate summit is in Glasgow in November, giving leaders who held back on target changes now.
Climate change, all this shit, I said, I don't give a fuck, I won't be around then.
Pressure on Australia to lift its game.
We'll update our long-term emissions reduction strategy for Glasgow.
It's a bridge he'll have to cross within months. In the United States, Tim Lester, 7 News.
The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have released a new photo of their youngest son, Prince Louis, to mark his third birthday.
He'll be 94 then,
Pardon? His mum Kate
He'll be 94 in
before he
2050.
left for his first day of preschool.
Don't think I'll last that long.
The culprit behind a horrifying kangaroo mutilation is roaming free tonight. People walking in the area early this morning found the dead animal on the Wananock foreshore. We warn some viewers might find the images in this report distressing.
A symbol of Australia, desecrated, cut into thirds, its leg discarded, the tail sliced off and taken. A sight too confronting to show on television, but locals wanted to see it on the Wananock foreshore.
Anger. Yeah, I was really angry. He's always around here, we know he's around here. Never does anything to anyone.
This was a deliberate act.
First I thought roadkill, someone's hit it by accident, but then the closer I looked and more you saw, and yeah, it definitely wasn't roadkill. It's been killed by someone and then you look at it basically.
Anything that we see that's a deliberate act of cruelty is always very, very confronting, and we urge anyone with any information to please come forward.
Rangers arrived before noon, covering the animal before the council's waste management came to collect it. The kangaroo might be cleaned up, but the problem for locals is still ongoing. They're left with the knowledge someone is capable of that living in their community.
It worries me, to be honest. It's like there's plenty more roos around here. There's joeys all the time. We see them all the time. It's like, well, if we're going to do that to him, and he's the big one around here, what can they do to the other ones?
Police and local authorities haven't begun an investigation. That will be left to the RSPCA if it receives a complaint. Ben Downey, 7 News.
2 Australian warships are racing to the Bali Sea to join the search for a missing Indonesian submarine and its 53 crew. Rescue teams have detected an object which could be just
3 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Below the surface.
They ran out of oxygen.
They have less than 12 hours to free the crew before their oxygen runs out.
Already on separate deployments, Ballarat and Sirius now have a new mission: find the missing Nangala 402. The warships diverted, joining crews from Malaysia, Singapore, India and Indonesia. Rushing to the submarine's last known location, 95 kilometres off the north coast of Bali. Until now, we still have not had contact with our submarine. The 43-year-old vessel was on a torpedo training exercise when contact was lost early Wednesday.
Torpedo training, so I reckon I let the torpedo go and something's gone wrong with blowing the ship up.
The German-built sub was thought to have sunk to the bottom of a 700-metre deep ocean trench. But searchers have now detected what they hope is the Nangala, between 50 and 100 metres, near where it first dived.
An object with a high magnetic density.
If it is the stricken vessel, and it's still in one piece, Indonesian authorities say they'll have less than 12 hours to free the crew before their oxygen runs out.
Escape probably isn't an option.
That's what I said, Melita.
It looks like it's an option. So all in all, the prognosis doesn't look particularly promising.
Joe Widodo has asked his people to pray for a miracle. Rob Scott, 7 News.
A schizophrenic homeless man who stabbed a former police officer has been sentenced to 4.5 years behind bars. Ian Jones stabbed Darren Montgomery in the chest with scissors 3 times after he was asked if he was okay in Highgate in September last year. The Good Samaritan needed life-saving surgery to fix a punctured lung. Jones will be eligible for parole after serving 2.5 years. The Target Tasmania rally has turned to tragedy. 68-year-old driver Shane Navin died after crashing his RX-7 on the Lyle Highway. It happened this morning. Co-driver Glenn Evans wasn't hurt. The rally was called off for the rest of today, but will continue tomorrow. You're watching a special edition of 7 News. Coming up, see Perth's new stadium-sized underwater wonder. How robots and augmented reality are shaping up WA's resources industry.
And coming up in sport, the Dockers play on without any crowd. We've got their changes and the Eagles lineup.
Mantap.
The most bitter rivalry returns. The Dogs and GWS hate each other. Tonight on 7 Mate.
We've brought back the 15 plus disposal market. We've taken out the big possession getters, the 30 to 35 pluses, and we've got Ruckman, Backman, all sorts of players in there. But the one I want to talk about is Taylor Giray. 15 of the last 16 games, he's had 15 plus disposals. Every game this year, he's had more than 15 disposals. So when you do your research, these are the players you're looking for. Good luck if you have paint on this, and please gamble responsibly.
This is one of those Huggle insurance ads. It's cold. You know, someone once stole my grand piano from the living room. God knows how they got it through the French windows. But I said to Sally, why didn't they just steal my husband instead? So much easier to replace. And much more fun to play.
Get your Woolies worth with Delivery Unlimited. Sign up today and get unlimited deliveries and a free 30-day trial.
That's why I get Woolies.
Is that your dog? The neighbour's dog. Will my insurance cover this? Budget Direct would have provided you with temporary accommodation for up to a year while they repair.
Budget Direct, insurance solved.
It's like a private country club. I have the security of high ownership. It's not a lease.
Plenty of space and families always welcome. The next clearance is Monday. Must chance to shop now and save big. The next Company Easter clearance ends Monday.
Australian made guess what for last from an amazing 2749, save over $2,000. 147 Belmont Avenue, Belmont.
Would you mind just saying the line? Choose Huggle. Simple, powerful home. And car insurance. It's paid. Huggle.
24. Bradley Cooper. Excuse me, sir. The new premieres tonight on 7. Now, Fuel Watch. Perth's petrol prices brought to you by Fuel Watch and 7 News.
The ASX 200 has closed out the week slightly higher, up 5 points. Mining stocks helped keep the average in the green. Mid-cap De Grey mining saw 20%. Gold is trading at $1,785 an ounce, and iron ore is up 1% to $188 a tonne. One Australian dollar is buying 77 US cents.
Little one.
A new underwater wonder is to be built off the coast of Perth's northern suburbs. An artificial reef will be installed 7 kilometres from Ocean Reef. 292 concrete modules will be dropped into the water. They're designed to attract fish, including snapper. It's WA's 7th artificial reef. After being cancelled last year, a 2-day state-of-the-art technology exhibition is returning to Perth. The Resources and Technology Showcase will be held at the Perth Convention and Exhibition Centre in June. In partnership with the state government, the event will highlight how innovation and technology plays a critical role in the resources industry. The free event will display robots, augmented reality and cutting-edge drones. Victoria's top cop has intervened in claims of corruption over the treatment of a Melbourne catering company. The company alleges a slug was planted during inspection.
Oh, this one.
A kitchen which once produced 15,000 meals a week is all but idle. Its devastated owner says he's the victim of corruption.
I'm hoping that justice will prevail.
A former detective says what's happened to iCook Foods is despicable.
I haven't seen anything like this. So rotten, so evil.
2 years ago, the company was ordered to shut by Chief Health Officer Brett Sutton after being linked to a fatal listeria outbreak. iCook says it was not to blame and that a slug later found on site was planted. The initial police investigation declared iCook was the target of a malicious prosecution. Brett Sutton was one of several officials named in the brief. But this month, the case was closed. Now the Chief Commissioner has agreed to look again.
We're talking about someone's livelihood, we're talking about their business, so I want to be absolutely clear that our investigation has been as thorough and as appropriate as it should be.
I'm very pleased that it's been reviewed. There's a terrible wrong done here, and hopefully we'll get to the bottom of it.
Dandenong Council says it's extremely confident an investigation will clear it of any wrongdoing. iCook Foods is also suing Dandenong Council and the government for tens of millions of dollars in damages over the impact on its business. That case is due to go to trial here at the Supreme Court early next year. The Department of Health says the legal action means it can't comment. And in the meantime, Ian Cook is starting again, securing his first client in 2 years.
We will rebuild. We will get there.
Laura Lubin, 7 News.
It's a common medication that's up to 300 times more likely to cause blood
Yeah,
clots than
that's
the contraceptive pill. So why are so many women still left in the dark about their health risks? That's
No, I don't know. Where do you?
Dan's is back now with more sport. You got the teams for the weekend, Daz?
Got them, Sue, right here. Yes, just one change at West Coast and at Fremantle. The big change here is footy with no crowd. For the Dockers, but it's now a totally different Glen Hall match. And more news for Cam Green,
tinggal lemon.
Mitch Marsh pays the price.
Aku nggak sanggup. Pedas banget. Tapi sayurnya yang lain habis semua.
You might have done it last night, like his legs all over nearly.
What I have done wrong with you?
Maybe last night in bed, you know, put the legs all over like that.
I didn't hear you coming. You didn't answer your phone. I didn't hear it ring. And you're not wearing a pendant again.
Pusing kepalaku.
I hate that.
Udah. Nggak sanggup.
Valentine has smart in-home sensors help prevent falls and other health risks. With an app that keeps you connected 24/7.
Mantap.
So you can start to worry
Buka puasa, makan salat Thailand. Seger banget.